No footage, no police reports, no answers, all dead ends, all just grief and hurt and pain. That's what my family's going through right now.
A family is trying to get answers after their loved one was killed by South Jordan police here 9 months ago.
Thermometer on the rise under a warm trend. How warm do temperatures get? I'll let you know.
You might have noticed that train crossings from Salt Lake City up to Ogden have suddenly become a lot quieter. Coming up, I'll have more on how the Woods Cross Quiet Zone has reestablished its meaning.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Hey, good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Adam Herbets filling in for Bob Evans tonight. We are tracking several top stories right now, including this. Looking ahead to a big court case involving a former fire chief and former judge in Box Elder County accused of serious crimes against children. Plus, after months of loud train horns blaring at all hours of the day, there's now some peace and quiet for people in Davis County, Salt Lake County, and Weber County. But we begin tonight with a family searching for answers as to why police shot and killed their loved one. Tonight, they chose to share their story only with Fox 13 News.
Parks
We come here and we pray and we sing.
can mean different things to different people.
It really is a pretty park, very peaceful.
But for the Gutierrez family,
This is where he took his last breath.
I'm Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi. Over the summer, I covered a shooting here near Glenmore Baseball Field in South Jordan. Investigators say a man was shot and killed by police when an attempt to arrest him escalated. Now, it's been 9 months since that happened, and the family says they're still trying to get answers.
Devastating news that no family wants to hear.
It was a Saturday morning in June 2024.
We don't know why South Jordan Police Department decided it was the best idea to put holes through my loved one.
When Brian Gutierrez tells me his brother Marcelo was shot and killed by police.
My brother had schizophrenia and he was not in the right mindset.
Police told us they got a call about a suspicious person looking through car windows. They tried to de-escalate the situation when he pointed a knife at officers.
He just felt safe in a baseball park. And we think that's why he was here.
When Marcelo didn't cooperate, they shot him and he died.
What you know is as much as we know, and that's kind of why I'm here. Like, we want answers. If someone shot your family member, wouldn't you want to know why are they not breathing anymore?
The family says they don't know what exactly led to that encounter. We did reach out to South Jordan City to find out, and they shared a statement with us saying, quote, "The city of South Jordan remains committed to transparency. At this time, the city and family continue to await the conclusion of the district attorney's review and investigation. As per established protocol and Utah statute, records including body-worn camera footage may not be released until the district attorney makes a determination regarding the legality of the use of force." The Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office tells us they're working on the case, but don't have a timeline on when those findings will be released.
No footage, no police reports, no answers, all dead ends, all just grief and hurt and pain. That's what my family's going through right now.
The family had a banner hanging in that area and a memorial set up at the park. Everything was taken away.
We don't know if that was the direction of the city. We don't know if that was just a resident acting on their own accord.
They have chalk writing on the trail with messages to Marcelo.
My brother was a gentle giant. You know, he was a nerd at heart, and he loved books, he loved movies, he loved Harry Potter, he loved Lord of the Rings.
Hoping to get answers soon and find a way to honor their loved one.
And why is it taking so long? No one can give us answers, and that pains us.
In South Jordan, I am Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Tomorrow afternoon, a former Box Elder County judge and the former Tremonton fire chief will both be in court on multiple child sex abuse charges. As we have reported for the past few weeks, Ned Brady Hansen and Kevin Robert Christensen have been linked together in court documents, accused of sharing child pornography with each other. It's a story that has shocked the community of Tremonton. Neighbors are disgusted, calling it an abuse of power, and of course Fox 13 News will be there for both court proceedings, which will be in Ogden.
So what do they do to break the seal on him? The movement is... The movement no, they
jostles everything up.
slice him open here.
The charge that we were looking at was the potential desecration of a body. As a public prosecutor, I don't have a law to prosecute stupid.
Prosecutors are now explaining why they chose not to file criminal charges against Salt Lake City police officers. The department says officers Mark Keep and Paul Mullinax pranked a rookie cop by getting him to use a box cutter to slice blisters on a dead homeless man's body. But investigators say this woman, the medical examiner, was most responsible, even though she was not directly involved in the hazing.
Do you guys need any help lifting him, or? I'm just, they're telling me, I think they're pranking me.
Last August, the Salt Lake City Police Department says the case started with a prank on a rookie officer. It ended with him taking a box cutter and laughing as the group watched him use it on a dead homeless man's body.
Yes. You guys suck.
We had to do that.
That's okay.
What they had you do with the knife?
They had me pop his blisters.
Jason Lloyd was 47 years old.
He was important to us, he mattered, and now our closure is seeing him on a body cam video in a tent being treated that way.
Yeah, just poke it.
He's somebody's child, he's somebody's sibling, so my heart goes out to them.
Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill says he found out about the case from our story last August. We were told no comment when angry officers first reported it to Fox 13.
And I commend those officers.
Long before the department chose to release the body camera video.
To be candid, it was really unprofessional. Unprofessional, childish, even stupid. But our question is it criminal? We don't have laws to prosecute stupid. We have laws to prosecute unlawful conduct, and that's what we had to look at.
He says in order to criminally charge someone with desecration of a dead human body, you have to prove intent. And that's why this piece of video is what investigators watched over and over again.
Mind if we just do like some control popping?
Yeah, go ahead.
This man works for a transport company called Care Center of Utah Mortuary Services. He asked if they could do, quote, controlled popping, and the medical examiner quickly says, yeah, go ahead. Here it is one more time.
Mind if we just do like some control popping?
Yeah, go ahead.
According to the medical examiner's office, this was not an approved procedure, and they have never even heard the term controlled popping. Some transporters told investigators they have done it before, but they cannot do anything without permission from the medical examiner on site. So far, police have only identified her by her first name, Shannon.
I'm Shannon. I spoke with you on the phone.
Yes.
Ultimately, it was her job to secure the scene and prevent harm to Jason Lloyd's body. Video shows not only did she approve the procedure, but she continued to stand and watch while the officer kept cutting.
That goes back to the policy and protocol and training issue rather than an intent to criminally violate the law.
Prosecutors say there are exceptions under the law for medical examiners.
That's great.
And even though the medical examiner's office admitted that she broke policy, she was not disciplined.
Can a prosecutor's office file charges? Of course they can. That may temporarily make us feel good, but those would be empty promises if they're not supported by the evidence or the law. From my perspective, they failed this officer.
So Shannon, the medical examiner, chose not to interview with criminal investigators with the Utah Attorney General's office, but she did turn in a written statement. It said she did not know what was about to happen and that she was going to scold the officers for pranking the rookie. Now, apparently that happened here. We have no way of knowing if that actually happened because the body camera video is muted, but you can see her body language. So far, the medical examiner's office has not explained why she was not disciplined despite violating policy. We have breaking news in St. George. Police say Riverside Drive from River Road to Morningside Drive is shut down after someone was crossing the street and then hit by a car. This happened just after 7 o'clock at 900 East and Riverside Drive. No word yet on the condition of that person who was hit. New at 9, a decades-old cold case is closer to being solved. Provo police say a John Doe buried in Moab in the early 80s has been positively identified as Robbie Pay. That's the 17-year-old who ran away from a youth treatment center back in 1982. His body was found months later with a gunshot wound to the head, but at the time could not be identified. While reviewing the case in 2018, a forensic dentist noticed an error in the X-ray data. Once it was corrected, they were able to get a 90% match, and eventually DNA evidence confirmed it. Grand County detectives are still investigating the case as a homicide. In more local news, opening weekend at Lagoon is pushed back. The amusement park was set to open this weekend, but because of the cold weather and the storms, they are planning to delay it 1 week. And Utah's weather authority, Breck Bolton, bears no responsibility for the cold weather and for all the kids that want to be riding roller coasters.
I know, just the messenger here. But boy, this winter storm coming in full force, bringing the snow both for the valleys and mountains. Today, a cleanup. But as we can see from this drone footage, Scott Taylor flying it over Liberty Park, heading towards Salt Lake City. We had the snow in place where valley locations picking up anywhere between 2 to 10 inches of snow. Of course, we've been highlighting the mountains getting up upwards of a foot to 30 inches of snow. But today it was calm, clear, but cold. Highs today well below average, getting up into the upper 30s in Logan, 40s here along the Wasatch Front, as well as towards western Utah, eastern Utah. You saw highs in the mid 40s, upper 50s though in St. George. Again, temperatures about 15 degrees below average. Right now we stand at 40 degrees in Salt Lake City, already down into the mid 30s in Tooele as well as in Logan. It's going to be another cold night, not quite as cold as we saw last night, where last night we had teens and 20s, more like along the lines of 20s and 30s here as we move through northern central Utah. We're bringing some clouds as well, getting pushed in due to another storm system that's trying to make its move here across the state, but no precipitation right now. We'll just be looking at mostly cloudy skies here in the overnight hours as temperatures getting down into the mid 30s. Now that storm system, what will it bring? It's not going to be impacting everybody. We'll talk about that specific storm coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Breck. Coming up, after a pretty big setback, a local homeless shelter got some help from the community. We'll show you how.
I'm Jeff Rainier outside Delta Center with Utah Jazz and Washington Wizards are battling for the worst record in the NBA. I'll tell you what's at stake coming up.
You're watching Fox 13 News, part of the Scripps News Group.
Train horns that have sounded from Salt Lake City to Ogden since September of 2024 are finally being silenced. I'm Jeremy Toms in Roy, where I talked with locals about how this affected them on a daily basis. For some of us who've grown up near train tracks, it's a nostalgic delight to hear one whoosh by.
My grandkids, oh my word, every time they were at my house and a train went by, they had to run out to watch it.
Cindy Winham has lived in Roy for 68 years.
I can sit on my back deck, which is the second level, and watch the trains go by.
She shared in her grandkids' enjoyment.
I would count cars, anywhere from 90 to 120 cars. The only thing that made noise was the engine, and once it was gone, then the rest of the train was a quiet hum.
That hum turned into a roar 6 months ago when the Federal Railroad Administration suspended the Woods Cross Quiet Zone from Salt Lake City to Ogden.
When your train is close enough to you that you can wave at the engineer, when they honk, they shake your house. It's a nightmare.
It all stemmed from 2 crossings that are dozens of miles from Winham's home.
All of the crossings were in compliance except for a crossing in North Salt Lake and one at 10th West in Salt Lake City that both needed gate arms on the industrial tracks.
I'm baffled why any city who was in compliance would be punished.
But after months of hearing the horns day and night, UTA trains chugged along Tuesday without their usual warning sirens.
When we're in a city, it's nice to be able to go outside and have quiet, you know.
The FRA sent a letter to local officials granting a joint waiver to give those crossings 2 years to come into compliance.
We are just grateful that the FRA would work with us so that we can have silence in this quiet zone again.
It gives new meaning to the phrase.
Silence is golden.
As these locals look forward to some restful nights ahead. Roy Jeremy Toms, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The trains have 1 week to begin silencing their horns. Woods Cross City officials told us as of 2 p.m. today, UTA had shut off their horns, but we still heard freight trains sounding theirs at railroad crossings this evening. The Utah Jazz just finished up a big game tonight that could go a long way in deciding who ends up with the worst record in the NBA this season. And Fox 13 Sports Director Jeff Rainier is out there, and I think he's one of the diehards hoping that we lose, right, Jeff?
I'll take either way. I don't care who wins or loses. I don't know. That's not true. But yeah, this is not the playoff race. It's the opposite of that. It's the tank race. The bottom 3 teams at the end of the season in the NBA standings get the best odds to win the NBA draft lottery at 14%. The Jazz and Wizards went into this game with the worst records in the NBA. Both had 15 losses. The Jazz were on the bottom because they had 15 wins. The Jazz were on the bottom because they had 2 more losses. Well, that changed tonight. The Jazz beat the Wizards, so they now have 16 wins. The Wizards 15 move into that bottom spot, but the Jazz are second worst in the NBA. So what are they playing for? Well, it's a special prize. It's a Cooper flag for the Duke Blue Devils, who's an outstanding player. He's the consensus #1 pick that could be a generational player in the NBA. The 6'9" forward has been impressive in his freshman season at Duke, although he missed the ACC tournament with a sprained ankle. There are plenty of taglines for NBA taking this season, like raise the white flag, lag for the flag, and my favorite, capture the flag. Now, of course, the Jazz want to win these games. The players that play in the game play hard. They try to win to get better. That was the case tonight, and Will Hardy coaches them to win. But sometimes the Jazz haven't always played their best players. Lauri Markkanen did not play tonight. According to the injury report, it was because of personal reasons. The Jazz were actually fined early this season when Markkanen missed a game $100,000. If they decide to do that again, that'll be $250,000. But let's be honest, what's $250,000 to an NBA franchise that could get a player like Cooper Flagg? It's not very much. The Jazz win tonight, 16 wins this season. That ends a 10-game losing streak with about 12 games to go this season. Reporting live from outside Delta Center, Jeff Rainier, Fox 13 Sports Utah.
Jeff, I'm not going to tell you who said this. I got to keep my sources confidential, but someone in the newsroom said, man, the Jazz aren't even good at losing when they need to lose to capture the flag. So here we are now at the second worst record, and we wish we were the worst.
You just got to be the third worst. That's 14%, the same as the first. But yeah, they played to win tonight, and they got the victory.
Yeah, well, hopefully those lottery balls bounce our way. Thank you, Jeff. We're also hoping for some good luck with the weather, as we're in March. We have snow, and we can't even have roller coasters at Lagoon, Breck.
No, we can't. Well, we're going to be on a little bit of a roller coaster ride as we look at the temperatures, but ahead we're going to be on an upward swing here, especially as we look towards next week. But tomorrow, the official first day of spring. As today, we were still holding on to winter-like temperatures. Official high in Salt Lake City, 44 degrees. Again, on average, we should be in the upper 50s. We're going to get there over the weekend and enjoy some 60s and even 70s as we look ahead. Outside right now, as we look at temperatures, though, it's cold, but we're going to bring in some clouds that will make sure that we don't get too cold, or in comparison to last night, where, again, 20s here along the Wasatch Front. We're looking at overnight lows in the 30s as we stand at 40 degrees at this hour in Salt Lake City. Okay, an update on the snowpack. Again, let's look backwards. January 16th, so 3 months ago, things were looking pretty good here across northern Utah. South, though, not the case. 41% in Escalante, heading over towards southwestern Utah at 27%. An update, we're looking even better here across northern Utah, eastern Utah in a similar situation, and big improvements across the south. We're not quite there yet, but as we go from 27% to 63%, we're definitely taking huge steps, as we're going to not see too many storms, though, here over the next several days. So didn't want to see too much of a break, but we're going to get it, and the break will bring in some warmer temperatures. But we do have a couple of storm systems. The first one, a very weak one that's going to be brushing by extreme northern Utah. Then we're warming up through the weekend. We've got another Saturday storm, which will be mainly impacting northern and central Utah. And then thereafter, even across the north, we'll be looking at many days without seeing any precipitation. Right now, we're mainly seeing clouds rolling in, coming in from the west, northern, central, southwestern Utah. Not seeing the precipitation. This cloud cover will be in place again here as we look for tonight through tomorrow. So we're getting rid of the blue sky at least for a couple of days. This storm system, as it tracks through, moving towards the northeast, that high pressure forcing it further northward. But a piece of it will, again, as mentioned, brush by extreme northern Utah. Then we're gearing up for a little bit of a bigger storm. Again, not a huge precipitation producer, but it will make its mark at least for the first half of the weekend. All right, looking at the models, it's the clouds in place heading into tomorrow morning. Then as we go into the afternoon, we start to see a few isolated showers, again, mainly north of Ogden over the higher terrain. It's a quick moving storm. It's not going to do much. Mountains maybe an inch or so, and just again highlighting a little bit of rain here across extreme northern Utah. Then clouds in place on Friday. We start seeing signs of our next storm system coming through on Saturday, initially making its push Friday night through Saturday morning. Again, it's mainly going to be rain in the valley, snow in the mountains, but maybe for a brief period of time early Saturday morning it'll be a mixture of rain and snow for the valleys. But again, we're not expecting to see much accumulation there as well. Tonight though, mostly cloudy skies across the north, a few high clouds across southern Utah. You can see your overnight lows. Tomorrow, a little bit of a warm up, near 50 degrees here as we look for the Wasatch Front, with 50s through central Utah and mid 60s in St. George as we're going to be warming up. Look where we're heading for St. George. Weekend, very nice, comfortable range. And then it gets a little bit out of comfort there as temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. Our body's not used to that. Kind of a hint of summer. As for our first day of spring here in Salt Lake City, 49 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. That chance of rain on Saturday. Then it's sunshine and nice temperatures, 60s to 70s by the middle of the week. That's the spring we're looking for. The first day a little bit cold, but we'll get there. And just a brief chance of some showers on Saturday. We're back after the break.
Tonight we've learned an assistant basketball and football coach at Water Canyon High School in Hilldale near the Utah-Arizona border has been arrested on accusations that he made out with a student who was 16 years old at the time. According to court documents, the victim confided in her sister about a romantic relationship with the suspect. His name is Aaron LaCourty. He's 37 years old. The victim is now 17 years old. Police say she shared a letter with them in which LaCourty told her they needed to give each other distance for a while. LaCourty is denying the allegations. He is out on bail and no longer has access to the school as the investigation continues. Now to a Fox 13 News follow-up to a story we brought you back in January. The largest homeless shelter in Cedar City is back to full operation after part of its roof caved in. James Jetton, the executive director of the Iron County Care and Share shelter, said repairs were completed in the last week, just in time as that part of southern Utah has been experiencing a cold snap.
Community outpour and support was amazing. People really rallied around us and helped us. We had a very generous builder in the area who came down and fixed the rooms, got everything up and running.
It was a mess. All three of the shelter's family rooms were damaged in late January after a burst fire sprinkler caused parts of the roof to cave in. The shelter provides a temporary home now to more than 400 people each year. Coming up, concerns of avalanche danger in the backcountry are growing. Hear from one man who got caught up in a slide just yesterday. Plus, a new public opinion poll has some interesting things to say about legalizing recreational marijuana in Utah. And it's a big day in South Jordan for one family who has been on a long journey. Find out why today is the biggest step yet. It has been a busy past 24 hours in Little Cottonwood Canyon. Snowbird says it got 23 inches of snow in 24 hours. And in the past 7 days, the resort got 6 feet of snow. Unfortunately, it has also led to several avalanches. One happened right on Highway 210 yesterday afternoon. It hit several cars as they were exiting the canyon. We spoke to one man who was caught in the middle of it. He and his friends made it out safely, and he says the experience was something he'll never forget.
Up a couple hundred feet, and all of a sudden, bam, you know, like I flinched. I'm in the driver's front seat, and I'm like, and we can just see powder all of us, and we're just like instantly, we know it's an avalanche that's hit us.
Snowbird says it had a lot of unplanned avalanche mitigation efforts on Tuesday night. Crews there work with UDOT to try to keep everyone safe. The Summit County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a snowboarder died at Park City Mountain today. They say he was found buried in snow on the Canyons Village side of the resort this morning. He was taken to an on-site medical facility where he was pronounced dead. The Sheriff's Office says there are no signs of an avalanche in this case. He was 55 years old and was visiting from out of state. The National Transportation Safety Board has released its preliminary report on the deadly crashes inside a Wyoming highway tunnel on February 14th. It was a series of chain reaction crashes and a fire that killed 3 people. The NTSB says it started when a pickup truck lost control and partially blocked traffic on the slick roadway. The report says it had snowed before the crashes and the highway was wet with possible ice or slush, where the truck spun out and hit a guardrail outside of the tunnel. 2 people in another pickup truck caught up in the chain of crashes. They were killed, as well as the driver of a semi-truck who died in the fire. The report did not specify exactly how the fire started. 20 other people were hurt. The chief of the North Ogden Police Department has been disciplined and reinstated after being on administrative leave for more than a month. Chief Brian Ainen was placed on leave on February 12th for an independent third-party investigation into a potential police policy violation. City officials said Ainen was participating in a wet lab training. That's where volunteers consume alcohol to reach a specific blood alcohol content level to help officers assess intoxication levels accurately and improve DUI enforcement. Well, the review concluded that the chief, quote, exhibited a lapse in judgment by participating in drinking and that his intention was good. Today was a big day for the Wilhite family of South Jordan. You may be familiar with Brent Wilhite, who's been involved with the Zero Fatalities campaign here in Utah. Last November, his daughters were hit by a suspected drunk driver in Arizona. Now, after 117 days, Sabrina Wilhite has finally left the hospital. Sabrina says the amount of support from her friends, family, and medical staff has been overwhelming. She had to learn how to breathe, eat, and walk again. Her family says it's a miracle she's able to go home.
There was a switch where I realized this was up to me to get better. And so I had to take accountability.
Sabrina says she is going to continue to recover and plans to stay here in Utah. Her goal is to be working once again by the end of the year. We hope stories like this serve as a reminder that you can help keep Utah's roads safe. If you have a question, a tip, a story idea, or better yet, a solution to an issue you see on our roads here in Utah, scan the QR code on your screen, which will take you to our website. There you'll find a form you can fill out and send to us for future stories. This week, Utah Governor Spencer Cox signed the Franchisee Protection Act. It prohibits a franchisor from requiring stores to open when operating conflicts with a franchisee's religious beliefs. Nothing Bundt Cakes franchise owners Kelsey Hunt and her father have been pushing back on Nothing Bundt Cakes' corporate decision to mandate locations are open on Sundays since it went into effect early last month.
It's been quite the roller coaster ride, but the fact that it has happened is nothing short of, at least to us and the rest of our family and really the community, a miracle.
They're happy with the change, but we're also hearing from other business owners who are opposed to making this a law, saying it could discourage from some companies from opening in Utah. A poll commissioned by a medical cannabis advocacy group found a majority of Utahns would support a citizen ballot initiative legalizing recreational cannabis in the state. The margin would be the same that voters approved medical cannabis in Utah back in 2018. That's 52%. However, the group Keep Utah Medical, the group that paid for the public opinion survey by Noble Predictive Insights, said it is not intending to push for recreational marijuana, even as states around us have been switching.
I think it's important to know where we are as a state. I don't think that there is that appetite quite yet, but if we don't get ahead of this, if we don't start looking at ways to improve our program, if we don't make it easier for patients to access medical cannabis here in our state, it will happen eventually. It's happened in every state around us that's passed a medical program.
So the poll may serve as a warning to the Utah State Legislature on future cannabis legislation on what could happen. A deeper dive into the numbers, and there are a lot of them right there on your screen, shows conservatives and Latter-day Saint voters largely oppose recreational marijuana, while moderates, independents, and non-LDS voters seem to support it. We want to know what you think. Do you think recreational marijuana should be legal in Utah? Well, there's a QR code on your screen, and these are the options. Either yes, no, only medical marijuana, or I don't care. 1% of you say, I don't care. Even if you don't care, scan that QR code on your screen to weigh in and see the results in real time as they refresh before our very eyes, or maybe not. 79% of you say yes. A major milestone in the fight against drug overdose deaths. The Utah Naloxone Project, started by emergency room physician and Salt Lake City Senator Jen Plum, says more than 12,500 people have been saved by Narcan since they started making it available in 2015. The medication reverses opioid overdoses when it's administered in time. More than 1,000 of those reversals were administered by police officers who carry the drug with them. You can get over-the-counter naloxone at major pharmacies across Utah. Utah and Wyoming have struck a deal on something that may seem odd, but it's actually a pretty big deal for your health. It surrounds cattle. The states have now agreed to let a cow's brand be used as an official ID. The Department of Agriculture and Food says there's actually a lot of cattle that move between Utah and Wyoming. This helps track disease outbreaks for dairy and beef cattle, which is something that would affect consumers, who grocery shop in both states. Coming up, the Delta Center provided the perfect stage to showcase some of Utah's art scene. Meet one artist whose work was featured. And earlier in the day, the Salt Lake City Stars hosted a team from Mexico City, but it was a local high school student that ended up stealing the show. We'll explain after the break. The Utah Film Trail is now guiding people through the state's most iconic landscapes. The Utah Film Commission and Utah Office of Tourism teamed up to place physical markers at locations used in shows and movies over the past 100 years. From Antelope Island to Park City's Main Street to Wendover's Airfield, the idea is to help people experience Utah in a cinematic way. If you want to see the full list, it is online. People who live in Ogden can get a rain barrel to conserve water. That's all part of the 2025 Rain Harvest Program through the Utah Rivers Council. Organizers say it can reduce water demand and help improve the water quality of local streams, rivers, and lakes by decreasing polluted runoff. Those who order rain barrels can pick them up at Weber State on May 9th.
We got some help from Mother Nature on our water supply, even towards southern Utah. Sharing a photo coming in from Sand Hollow Reservoir. You can see that snow line over the Pine Valley Mountains. No boats on the lake right now, but where temperatures are going next week, could we see some people hitting the lake? I'll let you know after the break.
The Cougars and Aggies both in the big dance. We'll hear from both teams as they get ready for their first round NCAA tournament game. And the Jazz and Wizards played an important game, not with the playoffs, but something else. We'll tell you about it and who came out on top coming up in sports.
I'm not going off any sort of data, I'm just going off my memory, but it feels like this was kind of a weak winter, but it's been a cold March, huh, Breck?
It's been a cooler March, and we've been definitely getting more snow, helping things out with our snowpack. We've been talking about how, like at Alta, we've seen a great March up to this point, but we're going to be turning off some of the precipitation. We do have a couple of weak storms that are going to be moving through northern Utah, but across the south where we've been getting some help, we're going to get an extended break. Temperatures right now with some clouds moving in, 40 degrees, Salt Lake City through Ogden, currently 38 degrees in Provo. Highs tomorrow, still below average. Expected high 49 degrees. Again, we should be in the upper 50s. I mentioned we've got 60s and 70s in our forecast, and for southern Utah, it's 80s from the Climate Prediction Center. Looking long range next 6 to 10 days. Definitely looking at above average temperatures all across the western United States. But again, the focal point of the high pressure will be across the state, as we're going to be looking at mid-80s for St. George heading into next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. And as I said, 70s returning here along the Wasatch Front. Clouds, though, moving in, no precipitation. Again, we'll be looking at mostly cloudy skies across northern central and most of western Utah. We're gearing up for a very weak storm that's going to be sweeping in. It's going to be clipping northern Utah, where the brunt of the storm stays north of the state, but a piece of it, again, will slide through, mainly bring just some brief showers. North of Ogden is the best chance. And then we got a little bit of a bigger storm for Saturday. Also only going to be impacting northern central Utah. It looks like this will mainly be bringing rain to the valleys, snow to the mountains, and not much as we look at snow accumulations. It was really the last storm that really did the trick and helped things out. But with this first wave coming through, we take a look at our computer models as we go through Thursday into Friday. You can see where we're going to be generating that precipitation. Again, it's extreme northern Utah. But the second wave coming through will be impacting the Wasatch Front down through central Utah. Let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast. A lot of cloud cover, so we're getting rid of the blue sky, as we'll be seeing those temperatures again a little bit warmer than what we found today. You can see 49 in Salt Lake City, 48 in Provo, upper 30s though in Park City, with 50s towards northeastern Utah. Now there's just that slight risk, southwest Wyoming, extreme northern Utah, that sees a chance of some brief showers. And then central and southern Utah, you're looking at mostly sunny skies, as temperatures also a little bit warmer, where we're back into the 60s in St. George. Heading for the 70s, staying there through the weekend. And then it's 80s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 86 degrees. Are we flirting with 90-degree temperatures? We're going to be looking at definitely those warm temperatures in place. And for northern Utah, not seeing that big of a jump, but a nice trend where we go from 40s for the first official day of spring, I should say, where it's mid-50s, that chance of some rain showers, mainly late morning through the afternoon. Then we're clearing out, seeing the sunshine, and seeing 70s by Wednesday.
Thank you, Breck. We thought this was worth celebrating. Today at the Delta Center, thousands of middle schoolers got to see the G League contest between the Salt Lake City Stars and the Mexico City Capitanes. And to their delight, 17-year-old Britton Buckingham was actually the star. He played the role of PA announcer.
And now your starters for your Salt Lake City Stars.
So if you're not familiar with Britton's story, it's something we first brought to you last month. Despite being born with spina bifida, he became the PA announcer for Kearns High School basketball games. The Stars front office, they're paying attention, so they invited him in to work today's home game.
After seeing the video, I just knew that this game was perfect for it and that we had to give Britton the opportunity, because the Stars stand for what we always say is, it starts here.
I was like ready to pass out. I was like, there's no way. I mean, this is above college, this is above everybody, so this is like a really big deal.
Britton says his dream is to inspire others and to one day take his talents to the NBA. Tonight, local artists are live painting during the Jazz game at the Delta Center. We spoke with Trevor Dahl, who's been doing freelance art for about 4 years. He says most of the time he's working alone in a studio, so the atmosphere at the game, that's an exciting change.
I love it. Yeah, this is my favorite thing ever. Like, I love talking to everybody and people peering over your shoulder and, asking you questions. I just love the energy.
Pretty good luck for the Jazz as well, because they won tonight. So there will be more artists at the Utah Hockey Club game tomorrow night. They really need the luck. They're in a playoff hunt. Then all their art will be for sale next Wednesday, with 100% of proceeds going to the artists.
Yeah, Jeff Rainier live back at Delta Center with Utah Jazz and Washington Wizards battled for the worst record in the NBA. Both teams started out the game with just 15 wins this season, lowest in the NBA. A couple of veterans for the Jazz played well early on. Jordan Clarkson, bucket and the one. He had 14 points. Then it's Colin Sexton, three is good. He had 18 points. A couple of rookies at the rim. First, Kyle Filipowski with a throwdown. 21 points for him. And then here's Isaiah Collier with a big finish. He had 16 points. The Jazz won at 128-112, ending a 10-game losing streak. They have 16 wins now to move into second to last. The Wizards are now last with 15 wins. The NCAA tournament is this week, and BYU and Utah State are both in the big dance. BYU is the 6th seed in the East. That matches them up against 11th seed VCU in Denver tomorrow. The Cougars are the favorites in that game after putting their 3-game winning streak on the Big 12 play. They upset last year the 11th seed Duquesne in the first round, and VCU will be a tough matchup, but the Cougars expect there to be a better result this year.
A lot of us on the team, that was our first time in this, with this opportunity, and we got freaking smacked. We've been around the block now, it feels like, as a team. A lot of guys have been here in this spot before, and just with having all the confidence in the world and all the focus of just getting the job done and being a tougher team.
I feel like we're battle tested, so I think that's kind of the difference. We have a lot of veteran dudes out here, and it's going to be awesome to go out there and play again with our band of brothers. And I'm super proud of our team, like how the season started to where we are now. I feel like we're one of the hottest teams in the country. We're playing our brand of basketball, and so we're super excited for our match against VCU on Thursday.
Utah State is the 10th seed in the Midwest region, which has them matched up against 7th seed UCLA tomorrow in Lexington, Kentucky. This is the Aggies' 3rd straight trip to the NCAA tournament. They won the first round game last year for the first time since 2001, ending a streak of 9 straight one-and-dones in the big dance. Ian Martinez and Mason Falzev were both on that team.
We have the same goal this year, you know. We believe in our team. I think we have a lot of depth, a lot of great guys. We have the talents, we have the tools to get on the run. So it's the same goal. We're trying to get as far as we can.
This is an amazing moment and something you dream about for a long time, and just go out and have fun. That's what I've been telling all the guys is, you know, it's been a long time since we played a team like UCLA, so just go out and enjoy it and embrace it. You know, don't hide from it. Go out and show the world what you can do.
It'll be exciting to see if the Cougars and Aggies can both win their first round games tomorrow. And how about the Utah Jazz? I saw a lot of people walking out with smiles on their faces as they win their 16th game of the season. Reporting live from Delta Center, Jeff Rainier, Fox 13 Sports Utah.
It's March 19th. I'm ready for March Madness to begin. Thank you, Jeff. We'll be right back. So there's 2 reasons always to make it to the end of our 9 o'clock newscast. First, of course, is to get to the quick cast. The second is to find out the new animals at the local zoo. This is Kiaria, Hogle Zoo's new Chinese red panda. She's 7 years old. She comes from the Toledo Zoo, and she's hoping to breed here. Which I don't know if she wanted that to be blasted all over the news, but hey, now the whole world knows. They say the best time to catch her is in the morning or late afternoon. I think they're talking about viewers, not breeding partners.
Oh, good. Thanks for clarifying.
I hope that's what they mean.
Cool looking animal, though. Cool looking panda.
Yeah,
Go check that
I don't think
out.
she's looking for a suitor on here, but
okay.
We got Quick Cast coming up next.